Right, we've got to move on now and meet our guest this evening. He is a big star on Buzzcocks. He's a regular panellist on QI. He used to be a communist and a punk. He is now Bill Bailey! How are you? Have a seat. So who ate your hair?
Well, no, it was an accident with a lathe.
Now, you're from the West Country, of course.
Oh, yes.
So is everyone down there, you know, a druid?
Yeah. Not everyone. No, I mean, it's yeah, it's compulsory druid. You do druid exams at school, yeah. But yeah, no, there is quite a lot of that still. The community down there. There's a sort of little bit of a ley line type, you know, sort of new age traveller, crusty kind of way station of Bath. Really. It is very much like that.
Is that why they're all those? Because a lot of agri-yobs, you know,
Yeah.
the kind of one-eyed people that hang around provincial town centres at night. Is that why they crash? So?
Well, I mean, my memories of driving around of driving around country lanes at sort of high speed, and the blokes with capris, you know, souped up capris, standing around, just looking at the cars, going, "That's brilliant, isn't it? That's great, that, isn't it? Brilliant." And that would be a Saturday night, just looking at the car. That's great, isn't it? What are we going to do now? Well, let's go up to the service station, and we would go to the service station because that was all there was to do in the West Country, really, of an evening.
And what did you do in the service
You
station?
go to the service, you drive back to the service station, you get out, and then you play a driving game in the service station. And that's, of course.
Wasn't it the service stations where you just about the IOU thing they've got?
I ran out of petrol. Was running out of petrol, and I went to the petrol station, and I filled up the tank and realised I had no money at all. I had no wallet, cards, or anything. And so what they say to you, they say, well, look, okay, you can have the petrol, you can drive away, but you have to write like an affidavit. So I promise to pay within 24 hours, and then you can leave with the petrol. So I said, all right, so that's all right. I just sign this thing, promising to pay, and then I can leave. And he said, yeah, that's fine. So I said, well, can I have a Twix as well? And then I said, and actually, while I'm here, a bit of barbecue charcoal and a bit of furniture. Great.
Load up the car. It's a brilliant idea. Now, car history.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2CV.
Yes, I'm afraid to say, I had a 2C. That was my first car.
Was that in the Workers' Revolutionary Party
Sorry, yeah.
time?
Yes, it was a lovely thing. It was a dolly. It was a red and white 2CV.
Oh, I remember the dolly.
Yeah.
I remember the dolly well.
Look
They
like
had striped roofs and they were bright colours.
Brilliant.
Wouldn't be red, of course.
Of course, yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, it looked like a pace car at a donkey derby, and it had a brilliant feature in it. The windows were split, unhinged. You know, so you could sort of flick them up like that. And of course, driving around the West Country late at night, you do attract the attention of local plod quite a lot just by being up late. You know, a bit late to be driving around town. Where's the donkeys? And more than once, the copper would lean down to the car, and I would open and crack him under the chin.
Did anyone in the Workers' Revolutionary Party at the time realise just what a planet-killing thing the 2CV was?
No. See, that was the thing. I mean, I suppose at the time you kind of think, "Oh, this is great. It's fantastic. It runs just purely on the tears of squirrels." You know, it doesn't run on petrol at all. It's fantastic. It's fashioned out of bark. It's amazing. You could open it with anything as well. You could open it with a key, and then I realised you could open it with a spoon. Or like two beer mats, you know. And I remember once breaking into it once. I had a couple of drinks. I thought, I better not drive home. So I thought, okay, well, I knew how to break in really easily. So I just broke in, fell asleep. And I thought, wait a minute, this is like 1981. I thought, I don't have a child. Why is there a child seat with me?
Oh, that would have been a good one. But then, of course, property is theft.
Of course it is.
So it's perfectly entitled to steal somebody else's
yes.
if you do leave your own. Because you're a big fan of hire cars too, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Well, nothing handles like a hire car, does it? Really?
Absolutely right. But have you ever crashed one?
I've totally wrecked them by. I hired one in Australia, and I hired this Suzuki Vitara, And he said, you're not taking it into the outback, are you? Which is exactly what I was doing. I went, no. I'm just going to drive around the hotel a couple of times. And the thing was, I don't know if you've driven in Australia, but the unmetalled roads, like the outback roads, are just dirt roads. And there's this sort of very fine dust called bull dust, and it just gets into every crevice of the car. And I thought, I'll probably lose my deposit when I could see that behind the plastic of the Speedo, just filling up with dust.
But then it is one of the 50 things you've got to do before you die: crash a hire car.
Crash a hire car, of course it is. Yeah, that is essential. Or take it to Glastonbury.
But don't you now have a Volvo XC90?
I do, yes. Yeah.
Fine taste, if I may say. That's both of us. You could have taken that to Glastonbury, though.
No.
No,
you want to
no, actually, what am I saying?
Take it off road. What are you talking about?
Yeah, take a Volvo as well to Glastonbury.
Volvo to Glastonbury.
Actually, no, a Volvo in Glastonbury now is about right.
It is about right. It has changed a little bit now. It's not quite so. It's a little bit corporate now. There's a £1 million security fence around Glastonbury now that stop people. Of course, it won't stop hippies. Or they crawl through fire to get to a face painting tent, won't they? I want to be a panther.
That's marvellous. Now, of course, you're appearing in your one-man show at the moment.
Yes,
Park Troll,
yeah.
The Apollo.
The Apollo Theatre, Shaftesbury Avenue.
That's enough of a plan. Because, of course, you're here, more importantly, you're here to do your lap and be our star in the reasonably priced car.
Right.
Who here would like to see Bill attempting to do the Liana? In the same conditions. Okay, let's have a look at some practice then here.
Okay. It was fantastic fun.
Where are we?
Look at this.
Oh yes, that's the hardest corner. Oh, hey. You're brave, you kept your foot in it.
I nearly flipped it there. I nearly flipped it.
So that's pretty good. Was that frightening?
It was actually. When I went out with Stig, going out with Stig is quite scary anyway. He looks a bit like an Imperial stormtrooper. So, and also the fact that when you're driving straight at a corner and you think, no, we really ought to brake now. No, we really ought to brake by now. By now we should have braked way back there. So it was. But once I got into it, I was back. I was 17 again.
So would we like to see Bill's completed lap? Yes. Play the tape. Look at that. It's a determined look.
Yeah.
A very determined look.
Very determined look.
Oh, here we go. That's a very hard corner, that one.
That is very. I spun off there once. This is a hard car, isn't it?
No, this is neat. That's very
nice
neat.
And tidy. Nice and tidy. Yeah.
You're right. Even though you say so yourself, and through the hammerhead again.
Look at this. Round the what's the line? Look at that.
I am impressed.
It's like delivering pizzas.
Were you flat through there, or did you have a bit of a limp?
No.
Foot flat through there, even in the wet.
Foot to the metal.
Even in the wet.
Yeah, even in the wet.
Now this is the tricky one that catches everyone out.
God.
But you're through.
Look at that.
And round the last. Oh, I think you could have gone even faster there. Actually, you didn't use all the road, but. I think we can definitely call that a wet lap.
Yeah.
Now, what's our fastest wet lap so far? Oh, well, that's Sanjeev.
Oh yeah.
He did a 151.5, and then really we have to go all the way down. These are mildly moist, mildly damp. Steve Coogan really is our fastest properly wet lap.
Okay.
154.
I think I was pretty confident. I sort of lost it on the first corner a bit, but I was kind of on the straights. I think I was pretty good. So
Yeah, the straights aren't very tricky.
Well, that's really all I'm doing.
Rubbish. You were obviously very good round the corners because you did a 153.4, which puts you. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Bailey! It's fantastic!
Goodbye!
Bye, have a great time.